What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Thanks for tuning in. Today in this video, guys, I want to talk to you guys about Cosmos and why I'm extremely bullish on the Cosmos ecosystem. Now, if you guys want to see this kind of down in writing, I did make a Twitter thread. You guys can go on Twitter and go ahead and check that out. But I want to go ahead and start the video like this. These are my ADHD notes over here, so I'm going to go ahead and go over them, read them to you so you guys can follow along. There are three ways that developers, projects, and communities can bring liquidity and a higher TVL to the protocol. The first way is you can give to the users. What does this mean? Well, you can offer a liquidity mining incentive, as in, hey, you can come over on our chain, you can come farm, and we'll pay you a bunch of tokens. Now, there's a problem with this. This creates mercenaries, as in they farm the token, dump, and then leave when the rewards are gone. You can't keep pumping out rewards. It's not sustainable. So you get fast growth, but you attract the mercenaries. The second way is you can give to the devs. Now this is great because you can give to the devs, they build more projects, they build more protocols, this attracts more devs, and sometimes this trickles down to the users. It's just much slower growth. Whereas if you're giving out free money, people go to the free money and eventually that runs out, and that's when they go to the protocols that are incentivizing the devs because they create better projects and protocols. But there is a concern with this. First is if that one protocol does create the liquidity mining incentive, they get extremely fast growth, and if they are able to get the developers over there to create good enough protocols, they could steal a large market share. That's not always guaranteed on the case, and that is a chance that that happens, and there's also a risk that it doesn't happen. That's why people give out the liquidity mining incentives. So hopefully, with the second option, when you're giving to the devs, you hope they give them to the user. As in, the incentives that the developers get, they pass them along to the user. A good example of this is like Taro. Taro is a protocol on Fantom, and if you're staking your Taro tokens, they will give you some of the Fantom incentives they receive from the Fantom Foundation. So that's how they're giving back to the user. So it's good and bad, and same thing with the first one, it's also good and bad. Fast growth, but attracts mercenaries. The second one is okay growth, but you get really good developers. Now the third is you can create a DeFi experience that is unmatched and everyone loves. Now, people stay to something like this because they try it, they love it, and they never go back. It's like crypto for me. Normally, when I go to a bank, I have to deposit my funds and withdraw, and it's just like sandpaper in your buns. It is not fun at all. Well, wait, maybe it's sand in your buns. I don't know who put sandpaper down there. But anyways, that process is not fun. Now, crypto is frictionless. It's amazing. It's easy to use. I can send money to someone really quick and easy with a click of a button. So I stay. I love it. Not just because it's a great DeFi experience or a great experience overall, that doesn't mean I'm going to come over fast. I mean, I remember when I first got into crypto, I was looking at Bitcoin. I was like, wow, this is cool. And it literally took time for me to actually press the button and buy. And when I did that, I was like, man, what am I doing? I'm such a moron. Like, I'm going to get wrecked. And it ended up turning out really well. But the point is like, it's a hard experience. So if I'm not getting paid to do something, I don't have that push to get me over the ledge. I mean, it could be a great experience, but if I don't have that push or that liquidity mining incentive to get me to push and come over to that chain, I may never come over there. Because there's no incentive for me to change, but if someone creates an incentive for me to change, I'll go ahead and move out and give a change. It's just like different banks. They'll say, hey, come over to our bank, we'll pay you $500 and whatever. Well, I'm already banking here, why would I go there? Well, we'll pay you $500. Okay, I'll come right over. That type of thing. So now that we have that on the table, I'm going to go ahead and shrink my face and we're going to go and get to this Twitter thread. I wanted to break down this Twitter thread because a couple people were like, great thread, this is awesome, I love it. And other people were like, hey, can you make a video on this? And others were like, I read the thread, I still don't understand, I barely understand crypto. So I'm going to try to explain this the best way I can. This video may be a little long, it may be a little short, just depending on your attention span. So let's start with the thread. Hey Tom, how are we doing today? Well, this is just a picture of what the growth is like, and Atom is the only one that's up. All the other ones are down. These are just different layer ones from year to date. As you can see, Solana, trashed. Avalanche, trashed. Algorand, trashed. Matic, trash. I mean, these are down 40, 50%. That's pretty crazy. And Cosmos is up 15%. Now, that's not saying Cosmos is better. That's not saying it has a lot faster growth. It also didn't grow as much as Solana and Avalanche. So this chart isn't fully like, oh man, this is like 100%. It's just something into perspective like, hey, we've already had a bunch of growth in Solana, Avalanche, Polygon. It's time to see some growth in some chains that really need the appreciation. Solana, Avalanche, Polygon, they all did liquidity mining incentives and they're all running out. That's why you're seeing this reverse trend. Cosmos, on the other hand, didn't do any liquidity mining incentive. They sat there with their head down, eating their ramen, and then just rolling the junk out. Just try Cosmos and the experience on Osmosis, even on Kava, or even on Thorchain, or even on Secret Network. The process is seamless, and I really like Terra Luna as well. Just try it. The experience is great. Now, since we're kind of talking about the experience, I want to talk about Osmosis. This one, in my opinion, is going to be like the gateway to Cosmos because there's zero gas fees. You can come over here and the APRs are nuts. Like Osmosis, it's kind of interesting, but it's literally the only protocol that its main trading is on Osmosis. Yes, it's also on Thorchain, and yes, it's also on Secret Network, but most of the liquidity is on Osmosis. And what's really interesting is this coin is only on DEXs, and it's a massive market cap. Like you look at Luna, you look at Kava, you look at Secret Network, they're on centralized exchanges. Osmosis is not on a centralized exchange. It's only on a DEX, and it's over a $1.2 billion market cap, and it's only climbing. Just try Osmosis. It's a great experience, not financial advice. But basically when you're on Osmosis, you can literally swap from one token to another and have no gas fees. The APRs, they range from 40, 50% to upwards to 200, 300%. This is APR. And what's interesting is other protocols that launch on Osmosis, they can give their tokens as well. So you'll be getting rewards in the Osmo token. And say, for example, you pool a token with Juno. It's another token that's on Cosmos. You can get the reward token in Juno. So when you deposit into this pool, you're actually getting paid Osmo and Juno. So it's double rewards. If you don't understand how a DEX works, basically what you need to do is you need to pair one token with another token at 50-50 ratio. Osmosis doesn't force you to do 50-50. You can even do 80-20, 90-10. There's different ratios. Now, what that means is I have $5 of Osmo, $5 of Atom. I have to pair both of those to make one pair. But if I go into an 80-20, I can do $8 of Osmo and $2 of Atom. That's what an 80-20 or a 50-50 means. Now, we kind of broke down number 3. We were talking about Osmo. You can get it on a DEX and kind of explaining like I'll spare the suspense for you. You'll never go back when you try it. It's no gas fees, and it's true. It's amazing. It's literally seamless. Now I go into, well, hey, if you want to spice up your DEX experience, there are a couple of options as well. The next one is Thorchain. So Thorchain is a DEX that allows you to swap native Bitcoin for native Litecoin or native Ethereum for native Binance coin. It allows you to swap these native assets. Now, some people may think, well, I can do that on Uniswap. That's not really important. That's not cool at all. Well, actually, you can't. When you go on Uniswap, if you want to buy Bitcoin by swapping your Ethereum into Bitcoin, you cannot buy native Bitcoin. You have to buy wrapped Bitcoin. Now, go back and look and see who owns the contracts of wrapped Bitcoin. The company is called BitGo. So if you give your Bitcoin to BitGo, that is a centralized company. Your Bitcoin is now a centralized coin. So now it is no longer decentralized. However, with Thorchain, this allows you to swap your native Ethereum, decentralized, with native Bitcoin, decentralized. So you can swap these two, and it's a seamless process. Now that's just Thorchain. Thorchain is covering the short tail assets. Short tail would be like Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, Binance coin. What short tail mainly means is like a very few assets, but they cover a really, really large market or really, really large market cap, not this really large market cap. So they cover the more expensive stuff in the higher market caps. The short tail is going to be like your poop coin, your pea coin, like the small altcoins that really not many people want to trade, but a select few. That is your short tail. And you can find this over on Thorchain. Thorchain will allow you to get those smaller altcoins that we all know and love, especially if you're a DJ. If you have no idea what I'm talking about the smaller altcoins, and you only know about Bitcoin and Ethereum, that's my point exactly. That's the short tail assets, and that's what Thorchain covers. Thorchain is for the long tail asset, and in my opinion, both of them can coexist. Now that's not even talking about the APRs or APYs. On Thorchain, you can get about 20-30% on your Bitcoin, which is really lucrative. And then on Thorchain, you can get like 300-400% APR. That's APR. So when you factor in APY, that's going to give you about 1700%. That is nuts and ham. So you can get this on Cosmos, you can get this on Juno, you can get this on all these different long tail assets, and you can get these crazy APRs. Now you need to factor in and remember that there is such a thing as impermanent loss, so keep that in mind. They do have impermanent loss protection on both Thorchain and Thorchain if you're pooling the tokens 50-50, but it's after a certain time period. So make sure you guys look into those protocols and understand that. If you don't want to do the reading and digging, I've made videos on both of those. Just go on my channel, type in Thorchain or Thorchain, and you'll pull all of that up. Now, I know what you're thinking. Well, DEXs are only fun and all, and I'm like, yeah, you're right, bro. Where are the big boy rides? Well, they have a chain called Terra. Now, Terra has tons of different rides around it, and they're all built around the stablecoin UST. This is important to understand, is that Terra helps to maintain the UST peg by building a bunch of rides around it. What do I mean? If you go back in crypto history, I guess you can call it, you can look at Iron Finance or Empty Set Dollar, and you can understand why those algo stablecoins crashed. It's because they did not have any use case except for earning rewards. However, what they're doing on Terra is they're using your UST as the game piece that you need to play on all these rides. So if you're on Anchor Protocol, you need to have UST in order to earn the 20% yield. Or if you're on Mirror Protocol and you want to pair any of these different tokens, like for example, Tesla, you got to pair that with UST or even AUST. Or for example, on Pylon Protocol, you have to have UST into these different pools so you can have that zero loss investing, where what they do is they take your UST, they deposit it in a vault, and the yield that you're earning actually pays for the asset that you're getting. So basically they create a bunch of different use cases around UST, and this allows more and more people to want to hold the UST token and use it, which helps to maintain its peg. Now, if you look at the TVL on Terra, it is actually second behind Ethereum. It's got about, I don't know, depending on when you guys watch this, about $15 to $16 billion in TVL, and it's constantly growing. And all they have is just rides around UST. Something crazy to understand, but still, you could do a bunch of stuff on Terra. And even on top of that, you can buy synthetic stocks like I mentioned on Mirror Protocol. You can buy Tesla, you can buy Amazon, you can buy Apple, you can buy Google. So you can actually buy these stocks, and it's easier than actually buying it from your own brokerage. It's amazing. It's literally a click of a button, whereas on a brokerage, you got to click. Sometimes it'll settle at the end of the day, or you got to call in if it's a over-the-counter trade, and it's like, dude, there's a better way. And when you buy these stocks, you can even earn a yield on it. So it's even crazier. Now, bear in mind, these are synthetic stocks, and it's not the actual stock itself. So you are not entitled to dividends, depending on the ones that you buy. You can also get exposure to any asset. Now, they even have a protocol called Levana. Now, Levana is a NFT game with dragons. I made a full video on that if you guys want to check that out. But basically with the protocol itself, it's allowing you to take leverage, to have a leverage exposure onto any of these coins. So it's still like a trading platform, almost like options, but it's not. It's like trading on leverage, but it's not. You're buying these 1 or 2x or 3x coins that the lowest you can go is 0. Whereas if you're trading on leverage, you can actually go below zero, as in like you have margin calls and you can keep repaying, and eventually if you keep throwing money at a trash can or whatever you want to call it, it's going to eat all your money type of thing. Now, since we talked enough about Terra, let's go ahead and move over to Kava. Now, Kava is going to be your protocol for borrowing and lending. They've just had a upgrade to Kava 9, and they're also having IBC enabled. Now, this is extremely bullish because on Cosmos, you have these different little hubs and sections in all these different chains. And without IBC being enabled, they are kind of basically separated on an island. But once you enable IBC, they're allowed to communicate with the other chains. This is also why I'm uber bullish on the Cosmos ecosystem, because if you look at Osmosis, when Terra opened up their IBC and they brought liquidity over to Osmosis, it was nuts and ham. You literally saw Osmosis pump 2-3x instantly. I mean, not instantly, but it took like 2 or 3 days. But the point is, it went nuts, and that was just from a IBC opening from Terra to Osmosis. That's it. And just imagine what will happen with all these other protocols when IBC is fully enabled. Terra and Osmosis, I look at them like gateway drugs to the Cosmos ecosystem. The reason why I say Terra is everyone is talking about Terra. I remember back in the day, nobody was talking about it. I remember you can get yields over on Anchor Protocol. You can look some of my old videos, and you're getting paid 300-400% APR to borrow money on Anchor. Now it's like you have to pay to do it. But still, the point is there's so many people talking about it. There's everyone coming into Terra now, and it's all a new buzzword. It's the same thing with Osmosis. Once you get on Osmosis and get that experience and see how frictionless and easy it is, you tell your friends tell your friends, and your friends tell their friends, and it keeps going and going and going. And more people come into the ecosystem. Now, everyone knows Terra, everyone knows Osmosis, but they don't know about Kava because IBC is not enabled. They barely know about Secret Network. They barely even know about Akash because IBC is not fully enabled. And once it's enabled, it will be nuts and ham. That's why I'm uber bullish on Kava. Kava will allow you to deposit your Bitcoin. You can deposit some USDX. You can deposit Kava. You can deposit different stable coins. There's different tokens that you can deposit. You can even deposit Ethereum over there, and you can borrow against it. They have a liquidity mining incentive going on that will be coming up, depending on when you view this video, in like 2 or 3 days, a incentive for depositing your Cosmos coin. You know, hey Tom, if you deposit it, you can get up to 1,700% APY. Yes, they are locked, the tokens that you earn for a year, but still, that is a crazy APY for a coin that I'm bullish on. I'm uber bullish on the Cosmos ecosystem, and I'm uber bullish on Kava. So I'm fine holding it a year. That's not saying you should hold it a year. That's just for me. And everyone knows what happens when you have a lending protocol that comes into play. First, just look at Polygon, or look at Avalanche, or look at Geist on Fantom. They literally went from 20, or we'll give Avalanche for example, from like $10 or $20 all the way up to 150, and that was with the launch of Aave. Now let's take Polygon for example. They literally came from like 10 cents and went as high as like $2.90 or $3. Look at Fantom. It came from pennies to almost $3, or actually over $3 with Geist. It's crazy what these liquidity mining incentives will do. Just imagine what will happen with Kava in the Cosmos ecosystem. Now, Kava is not the only borrowing and lending protocol. They have one coming on Sienna, on Secret Network, but for the most part, Kava is going to be your go-to right now until Sienna has their lending protocol out. Now we've had our coffee, what's next? Well, they have this thing called Juno. Now, Juno is a protocol just like Ethereum that allows developers to build their own dApps without having to build their own chain. If you guys did not know, when you build on Cosmos, you basically have to build your own chain when you build your own dApp. That's why you have Osmosis as its own chain and Osmosis as its own dApp. It's a dApp on a chain. It's literally the same exact thing. But with Juno, you can now create your own smart contracts in different dApps without having to create your own chain by leveraging the Juno ecosystem and using their network as security. I'm uber bullish on Juno because I look at it like the early stages of Ethereum, but interoperable with Cosmos. Now, I'm not calling this coin Ethereum, but the point is I look at it like the airdrop queen, whereas the airdrop father, everyone knows this, is Cosmos. It literally airdrops every single coin to you that like launches. It's crazy. I have lists of the different airdrops in Discord. If you guys want to jump in the Discord, the link's in the description below. But I like to stay on top of the Cosmos ecosystem. It's one of my babies. But anyways, so Juno, in my opinion, they're going to be airdropping a lot of different tokens. And actually, they've already done a couple. They had Net of Money, they had like some whale token, and they got a bunch of other ones that are already coming up, like Juno Swap, for example. So don't sleep on Juno. So basically, you can look at it like Ethereum, building your own dApps, but on Cosmos. Now, there's another chain that I'm going to be super hyped. Well, actually, I am super hyped about it. It's called Agoric. You can look at this like Juno as well. And this is one that you should stay tuned to. I'll be making videos on it as it comes out. So really not much to say about it, but you can look at it like Juno, but a different smart contract coding language. Now, the next one is a NFT marketplace called Stars. Now, just like you have Looks on Ethereum or OpenSea, it is the same exact thing on Cosmos. Except the difference is Stars is more like Looks, to where it actually pays the stakers. On OpenSea, there is no token, so they aren't paying the stakers. So it's kind of like the protocol is just getting all the money. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, they created a great dApp. The developers should get the money. It's just a more decentralized way with Stars. Now, that's all great stuff and all, but bro, there's something missing. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. And they have something called Secret Network. Now, this is amazing because you now have a protocol that is privacy by default. Why is privacy by default important? So on Ethereum, it's not private by default. Let me go ahead and explain to you how this works. So say, for example, you go to the bank or say, for example, you swipe something with your credit card. Do you want that store to ever have any history of all the previous transactions that you previously had? Well, that's the problem with using something like Ethereum, Fantom, or even Avalanche or any of these other chains. The problem is as soon as you make that transaction or that wallet address is public, what's going to happen is now that other person you were transacting with or that contract you were transacting with has history of all the other previous transactions you have made and anything you have on chain. With something like Secret Network, it is privacy by default. So they may be able to see some of the transactions, but they're obfuscated to where they can't see the exact totals, and they'll need a viewing key to be able to see what was on each of those totals. For example, they could see like I'm in the vault or that I'm in this protocol, but they can't see exactly how much is in it. So it's almost like, okay, I have enough for the funds, but they don't know exactly how much I have type of thing. It's almost like a zero knowledge proof. If you don't know what zero knowledge proofs are, it's basically me having a proof that something's been done. So like you can kind of look at it like this. If you have a real estate license and it's certified by the state, that's basically your proof that you passed the test and you completed the real estate license test without them actually having to go and look at your test and see, oh, look, it passed, you answered this, this, and this. Instead, you have a real estate license that says, all right, look, I got proof. Or even a driver's license that says, hey, look, I got proof, I passed the test, I'm good to drive. And this also gets important because if you're on an NFT marketplace and you're just going on there and just like, yeah, let me go ahead and sell this item, well, your wallet becomes doxed. And with Secret Network, this will actually prevent that from happening. So yes, they will still be able to see the wallet address, but they won't be able to see all the crypto assets that you have. So it's pretty interesting. It's basically everything you can do on Ethereum, but with privacy by default. Now, it doesn't all stop there. They even have something called Akash. This is a decentralized cloud. You know, you've heard it. Oh man, the internet's down. Really, it's just AWS being down and their cloud servers being down. With Akash, this is a decentralized cloud where there's several people in the world that are running different nodes instead of having a centralized database for these different clouds. That's why I'm bullish on Akash, because it's a distributed cloud among the people. And there are different protocols that are actually built on this. They have a DEX that is actually built on this as cross-chain DEX. It's called Rango Exchange. And then they also have different games built on it like Strange Clans. Now, of course, Cosmos is trying to be green as well. They have something called Regen Network. And basically these guys are looking to reduce the human's carbon footprint. Now, Don't get me started on liquid staking. Liquid staking is over at Persistence 1. Basically, it gives you the best of both worlds. Whereas if you stake your tokens, you're supporting the network, but you cannot play in DeFi. And if you play in DeFi, well, you're not supporting the network. So yeah, it's not helping. But with liquid staking, you can stake and you can play in DeFi. This is what Sunny Agarwal is working on, and Persistence 1 is already doing this. This is their brainchild. So you guys can keep that in mind. Now, I know it's kind of long, but now we got to start talking about some of the other protocols like Bitsong. Bitsong is a protocol that is getting rid of the middleman. So if you have a content creator, they have their own fan token, and this fan token can be purchased by any of their fans, and that would be supporting the creator. And there's just some of the few things that are on Cosmos. And of course, they got their own meme coin. It's called Chihuahua. Now, Chihuahua is a completely, utterly useless coin, but it is a meme coin, and it could be a gateway for people to get into Cosmos. So Chihuahua, it's got a place in my heart for me. Now, those are just a couple things on Cosmos that you can play around with, and other dApps are going to be coming. But the biggest thing you guys need to understand is the glue is coming for Cosmos, and this is IBC. This is going to be enabling so much more liquidity into the chain, because instead of just having people coming onto Osmosis, Terra, etc., well, now you can jump onto all these different chains as IBC is enabled, and this will unlock so much more value. Like we mentioned at the beginning of the video, there are 3 ways you can incentivize users, and in my opinion, Cosmos is actually taking the third approach. They are creating a seamless experience that is frictionless and that creates a really good user experience where people come and they stay. Now just imagine what will happen when they have a liquidity mining incentive. When you have users that come over, earn these rewards, and they realize, man, this is such a great experience, what if they stay? That's why I'm uber bullish on Cosmos and what they're doing, and not to mention all the innovation that is happening on Cosmos. These are just a few of the protocols you guys can play around with on Cosmos. I could literally talk for hours about this, about all the different dApps that are coming, but don't sleep on Cosmos. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you guys smash up that like, and if you guys want to jump in the Discord, there's a link in the description below where I talk about my different strategies I'm doing in the markets, and you can chat with some other DeFi degens just like you. Let's go ahead and leave you guys with a wisdom one-liner. We're going to hit you guys with Proverbs chapter 20, verses 12. Ears that hear and eyes that see, the Lord has made them both. We've done this wisdom one-liner a couple times, but it's important. Use your eyes, use your ears. You got 2 of them, and you only got 1 mouth. Use those more than the others. Thanks for tuning in, guys. See you in the next one. You guys can also catch me on tweeters at rent a home fast, like literally at rent a home fast.